Welcome into ESPN FC Live. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Mark Ogden and Shaka Hislop. And today, of course, we're reflecting on the big game of the Premier League this weekend. Manchester City beating the defending champions Liverpool convincingly by 3-0. Shaka, normally my standard question is this the right result? Did City deserve it? But there is absolutely no doubt that Liverpool were outplayed from start to finish in this tie.
Yeah, and I guess from a Liverpool perspective, you may point to that disallowed Virgil van Dijk goal. Maybe if that stood, it would have changed things. But truth is, to your point, Dan, I thought Manchester City were better from beginning to end. Maybe they can count themselves a little bit unlucky, particularly with the second goal. But their possession, their dominance, everything about City on the day, they were far better than Liverpool. As I say, if you can clutch at straws all you want, but City were deserving of the 3 goals and the 3 points.
Okay, this was the Liverpool side, of course, coming into the tie off the back of the wins against Villa and Real Madrid. And we're thinking, oh, well, maybe they've turned the corner. They've turned the corner straight into a brick wall from today.
Oh, they were terrible. Listen, I mean, they had the situation where they saved a penalty, or Mamardashvili saved a penalty, which was a dubious one anyway, but it could have been even heavier, couldn't it? And I've never seen a player given as much of a runaround as Conor Bradley today. I mean, Jeremy Doku was just sensational. I think, obviously, Conor Bradley is the long-term successor to Trent Alexander-Arnold, isn't he? Because, Frimpong isn't really a defender. He's not actually started too well. He's had a couple of injuries. So Bradley is basically Liverpool's best right back. And he was just, torn the shred off him, wasn't he, by Doku. So every part of the pitch was poor. I thought Van Dijk was poor. Mo Salah barely got involved in the game. Florian Wirtz, again, a bit of a non-event. So Man City hammered Liverpool. And I think that the questions with Liverpool now is, what is going wrong? I mean, I'm sure you're going to ask you that question as well, but what is going wrong? What has happened that's changed in the last 6 months? It's probably there's too many changes. Too many players have gone and too many players have come in.
Shaka, what's going wrong with Liverpool?
Too many changes, too many average performances. I'm surprised Mark didn't mention Konate, who I thought was poor on the day as well. And listen, and to your point, Dan, coming off the Real Madrid performance and result, and we were all singing the praises of Bradley and Robertson, and think from that game. And now, while City changed things up, didn't go with Savinho from the start, Jeremy Doku has been. What you doing? You're on here, Dan.
The dog has a habit of doing things he shouldn't on the bed, and I'm just making sure he won't do it now. People couldn't see me then. You could just see me in the thing. That was all off camera.
No, I was seeing you.
Well, you can see me, but no one else can see me.
You put me off, Dan. What are you doing off here? Don't do that anymore. Where was I? I can't remember where I was now.
Well, the dog's sorted now. That's okay.
All right. Well, the dogs. That's where I was. I was talking about Jeremy Doku, who is absolutely outstanding on the day. And listen, tactically, I don't think Liverpool had an answer for Manchester City. And in truth, it was pretty straightforward.
Looking at City, Mark, was this a performance that made you think they might be able to push Arsenal all the way?
Well, the thing with City is that if Erling Haaland gets injured, you have to ask who's going to score the goals, because he's scoring the game at the moment. And I think as good as they were today, I still think that there's a few issues in the City team that we haven't quite dealt with. Obviously, the Rodri situation. Rodri wasn't there again today. Nico played, scored a goal, but is he really at the right level that City wants? So I think it'd be a bit hasty to say that City are the best hope of challenging Arsenal. I mean, right now they are the second in the table, but I think you take Haaland out of that team and City could drop off a cliff. I mean, obviously Doku has come to the fore today, but it's all about Haaland, isn't it? Without Haaland, City are an average team. With him, they're a potential title winner. So it all relies on whether he can stay fit and he'll keep scoring the goals. But he has had injuries over the last couple of seasons where he's missed, 4-6 weeks. So let's see how City cope without Haaland. And let's not forget, they've got a World Cup at the end of the year, Norway, which they'll probably be at. So I'm sure Haaland's got half an eye on being at that World Cup. So he's not going to play every game. And if and when he misses, how can City cope with that Haaland? That's the question they have to answer just at the moment.
Okay, obviously Doku, I assume he won man of the match given how brilliant he was. I suppose if I'm a City fan, I'm thinking, why don't I see this consistently?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Doku's a good player, but you're right, he's in and out in terms of his form, but it all just clicked for him today. I mean, Conor Bradley tried his best to keep him under wraps, but he couldn't do it, and he was just brilliant. I mean, the great goal at the end of it. But yeah, Doku is inconsistent. It's the same with Savio, Savinho, however you want to call him. I'm not sure what his name is this week. Savio, Savinho, Doku. You got Phil Foden. You can never quite rely on to be consistent. The only one that's consistent is Haaland, but he's the guy that's carrying the team at the moment, and he's doing it brilliantly. So when he does well and everyone steps up, then City are a hard team to beat, and City are, potentially Arsenal's best challengers. But like I say, there's still a bit of a question mark about how they can cope without Haaland.
Can they push, though, Arsenal all the way, Shaq?
I think they're the only team that can. Listen, so we all, as neutrals, want a title race. And even as we said, even after Arsenal's result yesterday, this title is Arsenal's to lose. I don't think there's any question about that. But of the likely contenders, yes, it's only City who are able to get anywhere close. We've seen the inconsistency of Liverpool. I'm not sure how they kind of get themselves out of the slump, and if so, to have any kind of an impact on Arsenal, to worry Arsenal in any way. It's just about City. And to Mark's point, yes, you heavily reliant on Erling Haaland, but as long as he stays fit, as a neutral, you're hoping for a title race at the very least. But this is just Arsenal to lose at this point, even at this point, a third away into the season.
If you're Liverpool, and of course, looking for any excuse, any reason this happened, they could say, well, look, it could have been 1-1 with Van Dijk's goal, obviously, which was chalked off in the first half. Shaka, your thoughts on it?
My initial thought was that it was offside when I first saw it happen. But as you see the replays, in truth, Bradley isn't interfering with Donnarumma. He's a little bit to his left, and if anything, I think Jeremy Doku is the one who's more in Donnarumma's eyesight. So I think Liverpool right to feel a little hard done by in that one instance. But again, on first viewing, if you aren't just going to rely on 6 or 7 different angles, you understand why the flag went up and why the offside was given. But yeah, Liverpool could feel hard done by in that one.
So you're saying that should have stood?
I'm saying yes, it should have stood, because I think
I felt you a little bit on the fence there, Shaq.
No, I know. As I said, my first view, I thought offside, but as I saw more angles, more angles of it, you realise,
it was Robertson, wasn't it, not Bradley? So maybe you're looking at the wrong person.
Robertson, excuse me, yes, and it was more Jeremy Doku who was in Donnarumma's eyesight.
And he can't be offside because he's obviously on the same team.
Well, as his blue shirt would attest.
Oggy, what do you think?
Listen, it's a tricky one. I think it's not offside. It's not offside in terms of like practicalities, but I think he was in terms of in the rule. I mean, the fact that to duck out of the way suggests that he was interfering with play, but I don't think he wasn't. Listen, do we all know what the offside rule is anymore? I don't know. It's like handball. What's offside? What's handball? We don't. It's basically a subjective.
Aren't you the chief reporter of ESPN?
Well,
shouldn't you know these things, Oggy? You've got one job.
On you, Oggy.
Exactly.
It's cheap guesswork at the moment because I don't think even the referees know what the rules are. So, by the letter of the law, it was probably a goal, but I think they looked at it and thought he's interfering with play. Listen, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But we were confused by the rules.
Well, easily confused.
I tell you what was wrong. The penalty was for Man City, because I don't think that was
a penalty.
Nah, no, it wasn't. No, I'm not having that. Listen,
that was a penalty. My man's really called
it was the faintest touches. That, I mean, did it really knock him off his stride? I think
he's running full speed.
Nah,
no, God,
it was the hair on his knee that caught his boot. And I think the referee Chris Kavanagh. The referee Chris Kavanagh, I think Michael Oliver was the VAR today. I think when Chris Kavanagh sees Michael Oliver next time, he'll say, "Mate, you really dropped me in it there." Because what is he supposed to do when he's called to the screen? You know he's going to say penalty. And it was like, well, it wasn't. I think the decision he gave initially was it wasn't a penalty. It was way too soft.
Hold on.
A goalkeeper having to go against a goalkeeper. There you
go. Michael Oliver has been called as a referee, has been called to the screen and stuck with his decision. So he wouldn't have any issue with anybody just kind of ignoring his advice, because that's what he does and is applauded for it. But I think you have a player running at full speed here. Is caught. He tries to. I think Doku tries to keep his footing, but goes over. I think once there's contact in the box in that circumstance, it's a penalty. You have to give a penalty.
Well, good. Should we talk more about insignificant penalty, which didn't really affect the result?
Yeah, good point.
Meanwhile, of course, a mate of mine texts me going, normally I hate international breaks, but he's a Liverpool fan. He's like, at least it means I don't have to watch this dross next weekend. Does the international break come at a good time for Liverpool in the sense they can all take a breather, Shaq?
Um, I guess, and in that, international breaks is so difficult for clubs of that magnitude because everybody's away. Arne Slot won't have his team to work on things, and now you have to kind of sit and dwell on this result. But for those players going away on international duty, to your point or to your mate's point as well, maybe it's a good thing that the players can focus on something else, not the
Right.
frustrations, not the frustrations of the Premier League and their poor form. You would have thought that they wanted to continue and get back on the pitch as quickly as possible after Real Madrid. They did that. Look what happened. Now probably a good time just to kind of step away from it, change your focus, and then come back and try to regain some sense of form.
What do you think, Oggy?
I think it's an interference, to be honest. I think he needs the players around now. I think he needs some time to settle down. And obviously, the November international break is the last one, but then Liverpool are disrupted again by the African Cup of Nations because Mo Salah will go away for probably 6 weeks. I mean, Egypt are
Hasn't he been away all season, Mark?
Well, exactly. Well, it's a very good point. And I think this could either work two ways. I mean, you could say that is Mo Salah now focusing on AFCON with Egypt, and is he focusing on the World Cup? Is he giving Liverpool his 100% committed focus, or is he thinking, I've got 2 big international tournaments this year, and maybe when he does go away, that could be what Arne Slot is waiting for, in the sense that if once Isak's fit, he can get Isak in the team, he can get Ikatike in the team, he can maybe get Wirtz playing properly. But these are all big questions that he hasn't been able to manage so far this season. But I do think that the international break is getting in the way because it just takes away the chance to get on the training pitch. They play on the Saturday after the international break. He's going to have maybe 2 days at most with the players. So no, I don't think it's a good thing at all. I just think it stops him pressing the reset button. So he'll be glad when the international breaks are out of the way so he can have a full run between now and, March, which is the next one. So, no, I mean, listen, he's had 2 international breaks already this season. It's not really worked for Liverpool, has it, on the way out of the international break? So another one's just going to be another problem.
Chief correspondent, who do they have next in the league?
Forest at home.
Ooh, so there we go. Which they lost 1-0, of course, last season when they were brilliant.
Yeah, that was last season.
And it's also it's Sean Dyche football. Arne Slot doesn't like long balls, long throwing. So he's already told us that. So maybe Forest at home isn't the best fixture, followed by I think PSV in the Champions League. So a couple of good fixtures, but like you said, they lost to Forest last season, and it's a different Forest with a lot more long balls.
Oggy quite scathing about Salah, Shaq, that basically Liverpool are third in his priorities behind AFCON and the World Cup. Do you buy that?
No, we've been here before with Mo Salah. It's not as though he's just joined Liverpool and this is his first AFCON and World Cup calling.
Could be his last one though.
Right, could be. But the thing is, he's managed those wonderfully well in the past. I don't see why all of a sudden those things are now off-putting to Mo Salah. He's just not having a good time. It happens. It happens regardless of what's to come in January, February, what's to come next summer to the best of players. That's all it is with Mo Salah. I don't see it as any more than that.
But is it not concerned, Shaq, that we've been talking about his slump for quite a while now, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of turn?
Yeah, but you can probably say that about anybody at Liverpool. Nobody's playing particularly well. Nobody seems to be improving, and there are questions to be asked in a similar way. Not everybody has to go off to AFCON. Not everybody might be right now thinking about the World Cup next summer. But it's a team-wide thing, not just a Mo Salah thing.
Go on, Oggy.
No, I was just going to ask Shaka from obviously he's played in the World Cup with Trinidad, and it was obviously a pinnacle of his career doing so, because Trinidad, I think that was the first time he qualified. So when you qualify when you qualify for a World Cup and it's like
smallest nation who qualified until Iceland came along. And ruined it for Shaka. He hates Iceland. Anyway, sorry.
Does it get into your head? I mean, 6-7 months out, you're thinking, no, seriously. So you're telling me that Mo Salah's last chance at a World Cup, he's not thinking, let's just make sure I'm fully fit for the World Cup. I don't want to be injured to miss the World Cup.
No, I don't think that's into your head at all. We qualified for the World Cup in November of when it had been 2005. I had the whole. I broke into the West Ham starting 11 probably in January of that year, and thinking about the World Cup was the last thing on my mind. In establishing a run in the side, establishing that FA Cup run to the final. As a pro, especially an experienced pro, which Mo Salah is, it's game to game. You don't worry about the World Cup. You don't worry about the AFCON until you're standing on the pitch.
But do you think you could have maybe saved that Steven Gerrard shot if it wasn't a World Cup year?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I could use that as my excuse. I was firmly focused on what was to come on June 10th.
Where are Liverpool going to finish this season, Mark?
I think they'll finish top 4. I think, Arsenal, City, top 2. And I was just looking at the table as you're off, and I think you look at the top 6 or 7 right now, and there's not really a team that you think there's United aren't in any form. They're not in any form. Everyone's, I was at Tottenham on Saturday. Tottenham are getting booed. Thomas Frank's getting booed, and they're 5th. Tottenham are 5th. Man United have suddenly got themselves in the chance of Champions League qualification. So I think Liverpool will come good eventually, and they're way better than those teams. So I think they'll be maybe top 3. I think they'll finish top 3, maybe 3rd.
With City second?
Yeah, I think so. Arsenal top.
What do you think, Shaq?
Agreed. I think Arsenal will win the league. City second, Liverpool finished 3rd, and then right now I think it's almost a toss up between Chelsea and, dare I say, Manchester United to finish top 4. And I say that because as Oggy just kind of showed us, everybody else is just a little bit unconvincing. Can the likes of Bournemouth stay there? I'm not sure.